The cuffs were cold, colder than the night air, colder than the way Chief Daniels looked at Marcus King. "You thought you could play me?" Daniels's voice was low, dripping with fake calm. Marcus kept his head up. "I didn't do anything." But the chief wasn't listening, because in his hand, a small plastic bag, white powder inside, and the way he dangled it, smiling, told Marcus everything. This wasn't justice. This was a setup. Marcus King wasn't just another man in this city. He was the one who stood up when nobody else would. A local youth basketball coach. The guy who stopped 3 teens from being arrested last summer when they were only guilty of walking home while black. But to Chief Daniels, Marcus was a problem. The kind of man who saw too much, asked too many questions, especially about the missing evidence money that vanished from the department last year. Marcus didn't have proof yet, but proof wasn't what Daniels needed to destroy a man. No, Daniels had something better: power, and the badge to hide behind. It started earlier that evening. Marcus had just finished locking up the rec center when 2 squad cars rolled up. Daniels stepped out first, polished shoes hitting the pavement like a judge's gavel. "We got a tip," he said casually, as if reading off a weather report. Marcus frowned. "Tip about what?" "Drugs," Daniels said. And before Marcus could answer, 2 officers were already inside his car, digging, tossing, ripping things apart. That's when Daniels found it. The baggie, neatly tucked under the driver's seat, like a magician pulling a rabbit from a hat. Only this trick could put Marcus away for years. "Looks like you're going away, King," Daniels said, lips curling into a smirk. Marcus felt his chest tighten, not because he believed they'd get away with it, but because he knew they had gotten away with it before. The cuffs clicked shut, flashlights beamed in his eyes, and somewhere behind him, he could hear kids from the basketball team calling his name. The sound stabbed him deeper than any accusation. How do you explain to kids that the people sworn to protect them are the ones destroying their heroes? The station smelled like stale coffee and bad intentions. Daniels didn't waste time. "You're looking at 5 years minimum," he said, leaning across the table. "Unless you help us out." Marcus narrowed his eyes. "Help you do what?" Daniels smiled. "Stop poking around in places you don't belong. And maybe, just maybe, this little baggie disappears." Marcus stayed silent, because something in Daniels's overconfidence felt sloppy. And sloppy men made mistakes. While Daniels strutted out of the room, Marcus thought about his car. The same car he'd been working on last weekend. The same car where his nephew, a tech-obsessed 16-year-old, had installed a hidden dash camera. For fun, he'd said. Daniels didn't know. Daniels didn't check. Daniels had planted the drugs right in front of a tiny lens, no bigger than a button. The next morning, Marcus made his one phone call. Not to a lawyer, not to his sister, but to his nephew. "Log in," Marcus whispered. "Pull last night's footage. Keep it safe. Don't tell anyone." His nephew's voice cracked with excitement. "Uncle, I think I already know what you mean." Hours later, Daniels stormed back in, ready to finalize the paperwork. But Marcus leaned forward, calm. "You sure you want to do this?" Daniels laughed. "You're done." Marcus smiled. "So are you." He slid a folded piece of paper across the table, a printed still frame. Daniels' own hand sliding the drugs under the seat. For the first time, Daniels' smirk twitched, but he recovered fast. "This means nothing. Could be anything." Marcus leaned back. "Funny, because the rest of the video has sound." Daniels straightened, eyes narrowing. "You release that, and I'll make sure you disappear for good." Marcus didn't flinch. "Chief, people already know. My nephew made sure of it. By now, that footage is in more inboxes than you can count." Daniels' jaw tightened, because deep down, he knew. The badge only protects you if the lie stays hidden. A loud knock echoed from the hallway. An officer stepped in, face pale. "Chief, you need to see this." Daniels snatched the phone from the officer's hand. On the screen, a social media feed blowing up. Thousands of shares. The video, his face, his voice, the drugs in his hand. Daniels looked up at Marcus, but Marcus wasn't smiling anymore, because this wasn't over. Not yet. Outside the interrogation room, another officer's voice rang out. "Internal Affairs is here." And that's when Daniels realized the fight wasn't just for his badge, it was for his freedom. Internal Affairs walked in like storm clouds. Two men in gray suits, one woman with a folder so thick it looked like it could bury careers. Chief Daniels tried to stand tall, but his voice wavered. "This is a mistake." "Sit down, Chief," the lead investigator said. And for the first time, those words weren't directed at Marcus. They uncuffed Marcus. No apology, no handshake. Just a nod from one of the agents, the kind that says, "You're free, but you're not out of the storm yet." Marcus rubbed his wrists. Every eye in the room was on him now, especially Daniels. If looks could kill, Marcus would have been buried already. Hours before, his nephew had sent the footage to a local journalist known for digging into police corruption. She'd posted it without hesitation. The internet did the rest. Clips were everywhere. News anchors were already using words like outrage, betrayal, and cover-up. And Daniels, the man who thought no one could touch him, was now being touched by the one thing he couldn't control: public truth. Internal Affairs turned to Marcus. "Mr. King, we'd like you to stay while we ask the chief some questions." Daniels' nostrils flared. "You can't." But the investigator cut him off. "We can, and we will. Unless you want to explain why you're in possession of an illegal substance on camera." Marcus almost smiled. Almost. Because while Daniels squirmed under the questions, where did you get the drugs? Why was Mr. King targeted? Marcus noticed something in the chief's answers. He wasn't just lying to save himself. He was protecting someone else. One name kept slipping from Daniels' lips like it didn't belong there. A Captain Rourke. Marcus didn't know the name, but from the way Daniels hesitated each time, he knew. This went higher than the chief. An officer brought in a box. Inside, unmarked envelopes stuffed with cash. a second bag of drugs, and a ledger, half the pages missing. The investigator slid the box toward Daniels. Recognize any of this? Daniels didn't answer, because the truth wasn't in that box. It was in the fear behind his eyes. Marcus leaned forward. You know this doesn't end with you, right? Daniels glanced up, rage burning. You think you've won? Marcus shook his head slowly. Number, I think I've just found the first crack in your little empire. Just as the lead investigator opened his mouth to speak, the lights in the interrogation room flickered. Once, twice, then everything went black. A low hum filled the air. When the lights snapped back on, the big evidence box was gone. Daniels sat back in his chair, smirking again. You think you're the only one with friends in this city? He said. Marcus's stomach dropped. Because if the evidence could vanish that easily inside a police station, then whoever Daniels was protecting was still out there, and they had just made their move.